It's in the game.
Give me a break, need another life. Oh, need another life. Give me a break, need another life.
Well, you couldn't have written a script like this. Manchester United could complete the greatest league comeback possibly in history and win the title today with a win in the Manchester derby at Old Trafford. But they needed to hope Spurs can beat Chelsea. Well, a month and a half ago into this Women's Super League season, no one gave Manchester United any expectation of being in this position. They'd had goalkeeping drama, they've been swept off the park by Arsenal and Chelsea, they were labelled at best inconsistent. And then Mike Skinner made a couple of very vital signings. Well, one in fact, very vital signing in the signing of Audrey Kingsbury. That's because following the goalkeeper drama, both goalkeepers, Tullis Joyce and Maddie Patel, were sent away, and incoming Audrey Kingsbury and Fiona Dodds as the backup keeper, who has had one half during the second half of the season. And then it all started right here for Manchester United. It was the first derby of the season. Kingsbury came in, as did Samantha Kerr. They both start today for United. And their season really started there. A 7-0 win against City, an 8-0 win against Brighton, and then win after win after win after win, culminating in the match against Chelsea where they took the win and finally took back to the top of the Women's Super League season, which leads us to today. A win for Manchester United would have them at top going into the final weekend. A draw or less for Chelsea would more or less seal it for United. A draw wouldn't theoretically seal it outright because there would be obviously a final day and a battle of goal difference. Manchester United's superior goal difference if they lost their last match against Arsenal and Chelsea won against Liverpool, which seems very likely given Liverpool's season, but it would be decided on goal difference. So it can go to United today, but they need Chelsea to lose against Tottenham. And Chelsea have been on as good a roll all season long, as opposed to Manchester United having a stellar second half of it. So it very much looks like it's going down to the final day. All United can do is win and maybe have some hope that Spurs can get something against Chelsea, who have been absolutely mighty all season long. Manchester United, they have come from absolutely nowhere, winning almost every single game, if not every single game in the second half of the season. And this is where it all started. A thumping 7-0 win against, in the men's terms, it would be the Noisy Neighbours. In the Women's Super League, not so much. Both of these teams haven't really been able to get a foothold as far as winning Women's Super League titles is concerned. We said at the top of the show that it's been pretty much Arsenal, Chelsea or Brighton in some cases for the most part. But now we're in for a brand new winner. Possibly, if Manchester United do take it today. And all hands on deck for Mike Skinner. His best possible team he can bring out. No surprises. Jose is back. Toon is back. Telland is up front to get goals. And then that is your lot, really. And the only person missing now is Hayley Ladd. She will apparently be available for Manchester United up against Arsenal. And I think we've already mentioned this before this season, but what an irony it would be for Manchester United to clinch the title at the Emirates next week, in which a season which Arsenal could probably do the same thing against Manchester City. Their last home game, I believe, is at the end of the very end of the season against Newcastle. As Ella2 goes down, there's a penalty already, and Manchester City did not need to do that. And now, Manchester United have a chance with Ella2 to maybe put some fingers on the title, at least fingertips maybe. It's a rash challenge, to be fair, that is fairly given. And Manchester United have a chance to put themselves in front 5 minutes into the game. It's Galton and Toon that are debating it. I would personally give it to Ella2, to be honest. She has definitely had certainly a breakout season by her standards, which are pretty high anyway. And it is going to be Ella2. And she is going to convert. It is 1-0 to Manchester United. Ella2, there was never any doubt. Never any doubt at all. Well, 3 of Manchester United's players are in the scoring chart. I think Tilland is on top now. I think followed by Jose, followed by Toon. So it pretty proves how many goals Manchester United have scored over the course of the second half of the season. So much so that very much like the Men's Premier League, the Men's Premier League is different because it's all kind of almost tied up at the moment between Arsenal and City. But Arsenal's superior goal difference has them ahead. It's very much similar to Manchester United. Their goal difference is far superior because they have not been able to stop scoring since the 7-0 win at Manchester City's ground, which isn't the Etihad Stadium, incidentally. It's called something else, I think. But in any case, that's where it all kind of started, and they've just scored every goal in almost every game since. And here's Kelly to immediately respond. Kingsbury with a good save. And, well, I think the importance of that Audrey Kingsbury signing cannot be overstated. Of course, there are a couple more in terms of Sam Kerr and Laura Davidson. But none of them has... Well, Kerr and Davidson have been influential, no doubt. But Audrey Kingsbury has been the difference maker. And she is almost 90% or even 95% the reason United are in this situation. That cannot be overstated. And even in games where she hasn't kept the clean sheets, she's kept the score lines down. And she's pretty much on the verge, if not already, on 5 clean sheets for the season, which is the same number as about 5 or 6 other players with her. So, considering she's only played for 12 games, incidentally, 5 clean sheets out of 12 isn't too bad. And it puts her right at the top of the clean sheet chart. And it's a good tackle from Blundell there. Well, Manchester United doing their part. But we all will know what's going on between Spurs and Chelsea. I don't think it's a concurrent match that the game put us in that situation. We're going to have to wait till the end of the day to see if this will go down to the final day. And, well, Manchester United, what an absolute turnaround it has been. Ever since that 4-0 or 4-1 thumping that they received from Chelsea, to the point where Mike Skinner was off the pitch before even the half-time whistle blew. And who would be a fly on the wall in that dressing room at that moment? Because we all know that Mike Skinner pretty much lost his lost his composure. He was screaming at his team at that point, and he was adamant that changes will be made. And he stuck to his word, and Manchester United's players have responded in the best possible way. And now they're on the verge of a title. Ella2, there was never any doubt, was there? 15 goals for her, and that's probably one of the most emphatic, actually. Absolutely emphatic penalty. 100% conversion rate on their penalties, Manchester United, which is the same at Arsenal, incidentally, as well. Both those teams have very much shared stats over the course of the season, so we've had very similar stories in our coverage this year, and we'll have to wait and see who we get next year. I personally prefer, or not prefer, but I would personally very much enjoy a year covering Newcastle United, but we'll just have to see what we get given. Tilland to make it 2 for United, and not quite. And we'll also have to pick what Super League team to watch. We'll have to pick, think about what Super League team we could possibly get. Arsenal would certainly be a decent shout. You have very much a difference. We'll just have to see. In any case, let's focus on today. And Manchester United, well, they have fingertips on the title, but not even a hand yet, because we will not resolve the result between Chelsea and Spurs until the end of the day, at the end of today's coverage. Here's Combs. And Manchester City, well, they have their own personal pride on the line. And they were somewhat title challengers for a while. They'd stuck with Chelsea for some time over the course of the first half of the season. But ever since the second half, when they lost that 7-0 loss to Manchester United, it has been all United since then. And City, unfortunately, lost a lot of ground in that middle part. And United and Chelsea raced away to the situation we have now. Agashwita scores for City, and that puts the pendulum back towards Chelsea now. Well, a draw would certainly not do, unless Chelsea draw, of course. Then it would be status quo. But Chelsea don't look like drawing their match against Tottenham. So United need to get back ahead at all costs. And it's a pretty simple shot, maybe one you could argue Kingsbury should really be dealing with. And, well, that's not her best moment, that's for sure. But they all count. And City will certainly take it, considering they got thumped 7-0 in the previous fixture between these two. Well, it's all stalemate here now then. And Jose looking for an immediate response out of a great pass. And almost that EAFC, what they call kick-off cheese. Not so much this time. It's a corner kick. And Galton's been a bit of a set-piece specialist all season. 2 stunning free-kick goals would certainly be her highest points. Galton takes the corner. And straight at the keeper. I think Alatoon was in the vicinity as well. Here's Hemp. Data and Hemp keep it amongst themselves. Data cuts in. And Kingsbury makes a decent second save of the day there. Probably calm her nerves a bit. And that's a approaching challenge and advantage gained by Manchester United. Jose is away. The linesman tried to bring for a foul, but advantage was gained. Here's Samantha Kerr. And here's Taylor. Air of inevitability. Yes. 2-1. Never in doubt. Elizabeth Taylor is an absolutely stunning second half of this season. She wasn't even on the team sheet at the beginning. But ever since the injuries to the likes of Ella Toon in the middle part, she's absolutely thrived. And she has been rewarded with another goal today. Well, so much space in the City defence there. It was almost, like I said, an air of inevitability, really. Because she was not even challenged. And she's been on such a scoring route that it probably wouldn't come as much of a surprise. And there is a booking for that earlier challenge that United gained advantage from. So how many does that put on for Taylor now? It might be 16, actually. So that's going to be a bitter pill for Ella Toon, if that's the case. Yes, that puts... That's a goal a game for Taylor now. That's been incredible efficiency. But sadly for Ella too, now that puts her behind Elizabeth in the scoring chart again. So they're having their own personal battle out there today, I guess. I don't think it's going to matter. These players just want to win the league, especially when it comes to Manchester United, on the verge of their first title since 2013 in all of the football pyramid, let's say. Oh, penalty. Oh, Hannah Blundell, who's had a good second half of the season, scoring a couple of goals in that time. And he gives away a penalty. The pendulum's going to swing again. Mededa's going to take it and score. And, well, there we go. No sooner did Manchester United get a foothold, they really kind of make it hard for themselves. They have a history of that. It's a good penalty. It's a good penalty. It's not a spectacular one, but it's placed in the corner. And Kingsbury again probably could have done better with that. Oh, Mike Skidder, he seems pretty much composed at the moment. 2-2, and City, well, it's probably inverted. They probably want to win this for themselves, but they're doing Chelsea a favour at this very moment. And it will certainly amp Chelsea up to get a result against Spurs if a draw or loss happens. But it could be no spot of bother here because there's a lot of harsh tackling going on. And I'm pretty sure that player's been booked already. It's a sending off. And Bernie got a yellow card off the kickoff from the goal earlier. And she's very sillily gone and cut down Jesse again. And got herself sent off. And the pendulum has swung back to United now. They have the women advantage on the pitch. And, well, in the first 20 or so minutes, we've had absolute drama all round. And trust us to get maybe one final red card this season. There still could be one game to play, of course, as well. Well, Anunoby is really their team down in that regard. That's very much a sending off you probably could have avoided. And City now, we know when either Arsenal or Manchester United, which have been our teams this season, many times they get a red card and the team decides to move through the gears. We expect Manchester United to do that now. And here is Tierland again. And again she scores! And they make the extra player advantage count. It's Elizabeth Tierland again to go even further in front of Tood now. Goal number 17 for a player that hadn't even made the starting lineup for the most start of the season. But in Mike Skinner's need for change, she is certainly one that has stepped up to the mantle, and United are back in front. Can they keep a hold of it would be the question. 36 minutes, 5 goals and a sending off. Only in our coverage this season. So it's more than a goal a game for Tierland now. It's quite incredible. She has scored in pretty much almost every appearance she's made. Of course, not every single one. She probably scored multiple goals at one point too. And Clinton and goal. And now United are going through the gears. Immediate quick 2-5 goals. They want to make sure of this one. Clinton from absolutely nowhere. Well, it's not all been about Tood and Tierland, for example. The other avenues of scoring have been very much prolific as well. We've had Blundell with a couple from corners, I think. And now Clinton, well, that's an easy goal, really. It's just a tap-in, essentially. He probably could have done better, but she was busy, probably scrambling to get back from the earlier save. So you really can't blame her for that. And, well, it's going to be a question of how many. We've not even reached half-time yet. And we've already got 6 goals in this one. 4-2 to United now. Well, credit to City. They're trying to make a game of it at least. Because in the last one, they were swept off the park. 7-0. United looked unbeatable that afternoon. I think it was evening, actually. Maybe even been night time as well, actually. And that's hit by Maya Letitia away for a throw. Well, it's not been on all Marjorie Kingsbury in some way. Maya Letitia's return certainly helped because her and Turner had that stunning opening game of the season, if you remember, where no one could actually get by them. They had a stunning game. And Kelly actually gets the ball with that sliding challenge, and now City immediately try to respond again. And Kingsbury saves that one and Rivera clears it immediately. Only as far as Kennedy though. Here's Nieda. And another save from Kingsbury then. And this is, yeah, keep it amongst themselves. Here's Samantha Kerr. Sides up into challenge. Well done. Tierland. And now she picks out Ella Toon off the post. 2 comes back in. Oh, it's sideswiped. I think she sliced it and hit the wrong part of the ball. And, well, that could have been another goal for 2 to put her back within 1 of her own teammate, who are probably going to be scrapping for the Women's Super League Golden Boot here. Alexandri gets it's a throw-in, actually, as it came off Blundell. And the referee has brought him back. I'm hoping that isn't a free kick for City, because they didn't necessarily need it. No, it's a United free kick. I was going to say, that would have been very harsh, considering Manchester City had the advantage if that was going to be given to them. They'd feel pretty aggrieved. That's why I said I hope it wasn't one, because really they shouldn't have been given it, because they had the ball anyway. Ordered to Tierland. Immediately tackled. City read the scouting report. Not that it matters, because Manchester United's superior firepower has told again, and City may rue the sending off of Abendiedi earlier. And well, Tierland has had a season and a half to really remember, at least the second half of it. And Manchester United now on the verge of winning their first title in 10 years. United 4, City 2. Welcome back to Old Trafford. It could be a title-winning day. We said pretty much on the verge. It's not really. We don't know what the score is between Spurs and Chelsea right now. That might be a game that comes later on in the day. And Kingsbury has our first test of the second half, and is more or less up to it. Oh, and City's giving it away. Now, Kelly's on her own with the answer. Then great save by Kingsbury again. She's probably had performances that warrant more clean sheets. It's not really her fault that she hasn't had more. There have been stunning shots and very well-worked goals that she has conceded. But if she does get a mention for a Golden Glove in some way, then she has certainly deserved it. And these fans, most of them have been watching the men's team fall further and further and further behind even some of the midfield pack at this point. It has been a very dire year for Manchester United in the 2025-6 football, the 24-5 football season, my apologies, in the men's division, if you like, in the men's game maybe. I'm not sure really what the right terminology would be. But in any case, they have a reason to cheer. As we said, pretty much approaching their first title in 10 years league-wise. And it could be the only trophy they win this season, because they're out of everything else. Crashed out of the FA Cup to Arsenal, crashed out of the Europa League before even the last 32 stage. Weren't in the Champions League, obviously. Carabao Cup, they were knocked out. Kingsbury, great save. Manchester United have been eliminated from everything and just falling further and further down the table. They will not be relegated. Oh, good header. Good header from Madeira. And that is a real top draw header out of a top draw. That's Alan Smith-esque, that one. That's a good header. You can't blame Kingsbury for that. But in a year where Manchester United's name has been pretty much in the mud, so to speak, and not for one for not trying. But, yeah, it's been a pretty dire year for Manchester United. But here today, well, they're being given a battle at least. This is going down to the final day, whether someone wants it to or not. Because City are definitely making a fight of it. And United 4, City 3. It's been a classic derby, to be fair. City are not letting this one, they're not letting this one get away. I'll just say, what a great ride of a challenge there. And now United looking for an instant response. Samantha Kerr, of all people. That would be rather funny if that had gone in. You know, she's not related to Sam Kerr, obviously. It's a namesake. But wouldn't that have been an odd story if she got the goal that won United the title today? It looks unlikely. Chelsea will more than expectingly get a result against Spurs, I would have thought. Especially with the calibre of players they have. I think every Manchester United fan is hoping they win it today. The Emirates is going to be a very jubilant place to go to, with Arsenal's men's team closing in on a Premier League, although it's not all signed, sealed and delivered now, because both teams are level. But Arsenal's superior goal difference does have them ahead. You would say that Arsenal probably have an easier run-in, per se. I think they end their season at Newcastle United. They have Crystal Palace to face. A team which did give Arsenal some trouble in that men's game. Dalton's picked out Taylor here. And again, the City defence has holes. And that could have easily been a penalty, but Taylor decides not to go down. And double United substitution. Clinton is making way for Mallard. And Nolson's coming on for Samantha Kerr, so that's her day done. 30 minutes left to play. This game could still really go anywhere at this moment. There's Road. And the way United press on the ball has been quite a joy to watch. I think Ten Hag's and, well, not really Almiron's team, they work differently, but Ten Hag's team was always criticised for really not pressing so much. Say. There's Tillin, she's going to pick out Toon, and it's 5-3, and Toon scores number 16 for her this year. Whatever happens, United are either on the verge of winning the Women's Super League or they've won it already. We don't really know yet. But it seems that no matter what happens, the final day could have Manchester United's name on the trophy. But they will need the result against Arsenal, a team which they struggled against previously. But to be fair, at that point, it was a totally different team. So I'll be interested to see if the dynamic is different when those two teams meet again. And Ella Toon on 16 for the season. That puts her back level with Elizabeth Tilland on goals now, I think. It's going to be between her and Tilland in the final game of the season for the Golden Boot race. Of course, they'll both get it if they both have the same amount of goals, so they'll both get it anyway. Loses the ball to Kelly here. I mean, this game isn't over yet. Now to Nelson. On to Tillin and Greenwood. That's a challenge in. Here's Kelly. Alexandria de Combs, and City don't really look like they're going to muster up an attack. They're trying to keep the ball. And they're trying to probably keep United from scoring anymore. Because for many times this season, it's been a case of how many United will score. Today it's 5. Jose. Tilland's with her again. It's almost becoming a battle between her and Toon for the most goals of the season. Like we said with Tilland, it's even more impressive considering she'd only really made the bench in the early part of the year. Now can become pretty much a surefire starter. And of course, In the last Super League game of the season, we'll say goodbye to Rachel Williams, who announced her retirement at the beginning of the season. And that's not the only person we'll be saying goodbye to around that time. We've got Jamie Vardy and possibly Jorginho as well. And maybe a couple others too. I think, especially when Jamie Vardy leaves, it'll be pretty much the last of the old guard. I think there'll only be Ronaldo and Messi left from that kind of time period. You know, Ronaldo and Messi were long before Jamie Vardy was even an Arsenal player. A Leicester City player, my apologies. An Arsenal player sure would have been something. That definitely would have been something to witness. I think Arsenal fans would have beat your hand off at that one. Saved by Kingsbury, to be fair. And Greenwood with a great header, but doesn't score from it. Well, City have been great from their corners today. Towering header by Greenwood, to be fair. Threw herself at it. It probably deserved more. Here's Coombs. Here's Medina, who scored earlier. I'm going to credit City. They've tried to give United a bit of a game today, but it looks like United have been slightly the stronger. In a game they need to win regardless of what happens between Spurs and Chelsea, really. They can't afford to lose this one. Because now, with this win, the Women's Super League is now in their hands. Beat Arsenal and they win regardless. It's going to be a tough one though. It's going to be a tough one. United were blown out of the stadium by Arsenal at Old Trafford. That's a wonderful ball. Alexandre just getting there though. There's Medeva. Leave back to Medeva again. City trying to muster up something, but I think the man advantage is telling for United now. But Nelson, she's just literally jogging into the box. No defense for City. And they have played pretty poor defensively, to be fair. Alexandri's going off. For Kispajuri, it's probably not going to change much in the context of the game. It probably might add a few extra minutes onto the added time at the end. Into the corner, but almost met there by Tierland as well. Well, Manchester United 3 minutes away from a win they need, regardless of what happens. But what will happen between Spurs and Chelsea? Every expectation that Chelsea will win, given their players and their season, really. And Sanderberg is coming on for Blundell here, probably to be rested up for that match at Arsenal. She will be an integral part of the team. She may have lost the captaincy to Kingsbury, but it definitely wasn't on performance. Mike Skinner was quick to point that out. Kingsbury will be captain, and it was with Blundell's blessing, more or less. And to be fair, since then, she'd absolutely thrived. A couple of goals over the course of the last 12 games that United have played since the winter break. And now, 3 more minutes. That's the added time today. So most of the positions in the table are really set in stone at this point. It's only going to be who finishes first that's going to be probably the main talking point. I don't know how it works in terms of relegation. I think only the bottom team gets relegated, which would be sad to see Liverpool go if that's the case. Let's hope not. Dava, and it's going to be a nerve last 10 seconds. That's going to mean very little, unfortunately, but at least they have made a game out of this one. I'm going to give them credit. They've really fought United to the final whistle today, but it looks like United are just going to squeak through and either take the Women's Super League today or at least take it to the final day with it all in their hands. And you wouldn't expect Manchester United to let it slip against Arsenal, even if they had been beaten before. That's the end of the game, 5-4 to Manchester United. A bit of an epic day, to be honest. David's going to get a match ball, but it's going to be in a loss, unfortunately. United just a little bit too strong and definitely with the man advantage as well. But credit City, they gave them a game today despite, and they obviously came in 7-0 winners, losers from the last time. So, the score we will go straight to. Spurs and Chelsea ended 2-1 to Chelsea. It's going to the last day. In the Merseyside derby, Liverpool beat Everton by 2-0 and Arsenal won again. It's just a shame that it came a bit too late for them in terms of a title challenge, but they will finish fourth, which is quite ironic when you think about it. Palace and Leicester was 2-1, West Ham and Villa was 2-2, and that was the last score of the day. So Manchester United have it all in their hands. Win, and it's theirs. Draw, and they need Chelsea to match them. Lose, and they need Chelsea to lose. City, Arsenal, West Ham, Leicester, Spurs, Palace, Brighton, Villa. There is still a couple of positions maybe up for grabs, but it's all pretty inconsequential now. It's pretty much set in stone. The Merseyside clubs actually are at the bottom, but I'm not sure what that means in terms of relegation, though.